Welcome to Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio. Tonight's show will also be live streamed on our Facebook page at WBVP-WMBA. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Junction Auto Service, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Geneva College, Fisher's New Brighton Foodland and Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot, the Community College of Beaver County, the J&J Spratt Funeral Home, and the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. Now let's take it to our host for tonight's edition of Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Another edition of the Coach's Corner here on WBVP, WMBA, our Facebook Live page, along with the FMs, 99.3 and 95.7 with Bruce Fry tonight. I'm Bob Barrickman. And Bruce, I don't know if it was done on purpose, but I'll give you credit. You wore some green. I have a little green on.
Definitely on purpose. Absolutely.
Very good.
Try to make the guy feel welcome.
And
No
the gentleman to our right has a lot of green. And there's a reason for that. Green and gold. Zack Hayward, the head coach of the Blackhawk Cougars. And we're going to be talking to Zack this week. We also have one of our Community College of Beaver County players of the game. Cornell had a tremendous game a couple weeks ago against Aliquippa. We'll talk to him a little bit later in tonight's show, Bruce, and looking forward to getting his comments. Cornell, the sophomore for West Allegheny. Bruce, the game that we're going to talk to Coach Hayward about, Blackhawk and Central Valley. Central Valley's won 33 games in a row, and they looked a part of it this past Friday night on WBVP and WMBA. Let's talk about that one as well.
It's no coincidence, but they have the perfect formula for success in that it just seems like every time we give the Fry Transportation Instant Update Desk, it's Central Valley 35-0 at the half, no matter who they're playing.
Right.
But what that means is their reserves get quality snaps in the whole third and fourth period. And when you throw that into the fact that they've been to Hershey 3 straight years, then they have players who are ready to go in any type of situation.
Okay, and let's review the WNBA game from last week as well.
Well, yeah, the Hopewell got off to an incredibly rocky start. You know, they fumbled on the first play of the game offensively, and Quaker Valley picked it up and took it in. And then they had 3 straight dead ball pre-snap penalties concerning their alignments, but they were able to overcome that. They made some stops. They got it together. In their freshman core, their class of 2026 in general is very good. They've got Muzzy, the receiver. They've got Krotek, the quarterback. They've got a couple guys in the line. So if they can be patient for a while, they can turn some heads in that, what's it called, Western Hills Conference.
Yeah, you know what? It changes so often. I think it is. I think you're correct,
yeah,
Bruce.
But there's playoff spots to be had in that conference.
Well, you look
I
at
think Avonworth's on the top because they won at West Mifflin. But then after that, it's every man for himself.
It's bunched up. 4 teams from that conference will go, and right now Hopewell's 2-1.
Yes.
So they're knocking on the door, and that's good news. Zack Hayward, the head coach of the Blackhawk Cougars. Your 5th year now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Boy, where does time go?
It goes quick.
Was your first year when the new stadium opened?
Yeah.
Okay. So you came with the new stadium. And, Zack, briefly about last week's game that was on WBVP. In the middle 2 quarters, you hung in there. I mean, I think it goes to show that you and your football team did not just pack it in. You kept Central Valley off the board through much of the game. But that first quarter got away from you when they got 21 points. And it's hard to come from behind against anybody when you're down 21-0. And when you're doing it against a team that's won 33 in a row, the odds are very much against you.
Yeah, I mean, if you take out the first 3 minutes of the game, it was scoreless until midway through the third. So after we settled down, we kind of calmed down a little bit. We were able to go toe-to-toe, offensive and defensively. They're definitely a great team. But I think the lights were just a little bit too bright for us to start the game. And then, we settled down. And then at that point, midway through the third, had to start doing stuff that's uncharacteristic like us and have to spread the ball around a little bit. And that's not our game. So as soon as we played into their hand, that's when they were able to pour it on.
Zach, does it give you in your community any consolation to have people like us in the media and outsiders say, well, Blackhawk happens to be in the toughest 4A section in the state?
I hear it every day.
Yeah, that's what I just wondered. What with Brock thrown in,
It doesn't get easier, I'll tell you that. And we knew that from the jump, especially when our scrimmage was Steel Valley, and playing against those guys. They're a top-tier team, a 2A team, and then Beaver Falls, and then turn around and have to play Highlands, who's, 5-0, 6-0, whatever they are. And then you have Aliquippa, then you have Central Valley, you have West Day. You have some really good quality programs with a lot of tradition. So it's the old Parkway. You go in each and every game. It's going to be a battle for 4 quarters.
Have you sent in your letter thanking the WPIL coach that they scheduled back to 2 state champions, Central Valley and Aliquippa, in consecutive weeks, and then West Allegheny, a team that's lost 1 game?
Yeah, somebody doesn't like me. We'll just put it that way. To have to play 3 of the top teams in 4A. So, but you got to play them at some point. For us, it just happens to be back to back. So it'll be a challenge for us. But I tell our team every single week, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best. You got to beat the best. And for our conference, you're going to play very quality players, but you're also coaching against very quality coaches. And you can say that about Sherm McBride at Ambridge with what he's doing, all the way through our conference, even to Stacy Robinson in Newcastle with his success at Union and over the years. So, you have some really good competition. You have some really good coaches, and it's fun to coach in this conference. I would love to play in this conference. I did, years back, but, at least we're back to the old Parkway, and it's a grind. And if you can survive the conference throughout the year, you're setting yourself up for some postseason success.
Yeah, no question. And was that pretty much the message? Coaches typically put their teams out onto the field and have a little huddle after the game. Was that essentially your message after the game at Sarge Albert's last Friday?
Well, really, I think after that game, we really just talked more or less about where do we go from here, and talking about, continuing to do what we preach, day in and day out, practice in, practice out, working together, not splintering and going our separate ways. Continue to stick together because, we're right there in the thick of things. 2 conference wins. Got to have at least 1 more, over the next couple weeks. We got to win 1 more. And that's just to skim into the playoffs, but obviously you want to beat guys like, West Day, and you want to beat guys like Aliquippa and Montour. So, it's the competitor of me came out after the game because it's like, hey, it's one conference loss. That's all it is. Turn around.
Let's go back to the beginning of the season. We knew going in Beaver Falls was going to have a quality team. They've been to the stadium, Heinz Field, when it was still Heinz Field, the last couple of years, and we knew they still had some principal players back. And then the following week, Highlands, I think at that time, Bruce, we didn't know how good Highlands was going to be.
Isn't this their best season in like 17 years?
Yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah.
But then you kind of took it on the chin, and it was easy to think, okay, you have a sophomore quarterback, you had 2 losses. Won't say they were total blowouts, but decisively against you. And we're thinking, boy, this could be a tough year for Blackhawk. And last year, of course, only winning 2 games. And we figured, well, Coach Hayward just going through a tough spell. But then you get the big win over Mars, Eric Kasparovich, who's won a couple state titles in 6A with Pine Richland, and you beat them. You squeak by them. Did that game kind of make you and your staff and your team confident that, okay, we are pretty good after all. Did that Mars game convince you of that?
Yeah, but I think going back to last year, you look at who we played. So to just say we had 2 wins, I think is a little bit, on the downside because we played Aliquippa, Central Valley twice, Beaver Falls, so a lot of quality opponents. I think if you eliminate 4 games or 4 plays out of those games, we're a 7-3 team. And we graduated 18 starters from last year's team. So, to turn around and have to play a team that's been at Heinz Field however many years in Beaver Falls. And when you look at that statistically, we actually had more rushing yards, more passing yards, time of possession. We had it all. The only thing that we didn't have was turnovers. We snapped the ball over our punter's head twice and gave them 14 points, and that's what we lost by. So we knew we were right there, and then Highlands is a great team. We played them 4 years ago, when their quarterback was a freshman, and we said it then that kid's going to be really good, and you saw what he did against Mars last week, having 5 touchdowns in 7 plays. So he's a really good player, and we knew it was going to be tough going in there, and knowing that their defense has only given up 84 rushing yards on the season. We had 55 of those, So, you hang your hat on some of those small wins, but at the same time, I'm still confident in my team. I'm still confident in what we have. Now it's just putting it all together. Defense plays well one week, offense plays well the next. It's just being able to play together, for 4 quarters. And that's what we did for Mars. And Mars is a really good program, really good team. What was great about that is Devin Thomas, kicking the game-winning field goal. To clinch that, where, last year we had that opportunity and just barely missed, by 6 inches against North Catholic, So for him to do that and crush that, I think it was a 37-yard field goal, and he made it with probably about 10 yards to go. So that was a big moment for him. And finally, I think that gave us a little bit of confidence, going into Ambridge. And Ambridge is a great team. And you saw what they did against Aliquippa here last week, scoring 20 points. But gave us some confidence there, and then have to turn around and go to Char Valley, which is a very tough place to play. Go in there and have a pretty big win. Gave us a little bit of momentum, and going down, the path here of the next, 3 Goliaths is the big thing of, Central Valley, Aliquippa, and West A. So that's, those are some big teams, and then, it doesn't get any easier going to Montour, So, we have, a tough road ahead, but I'm confident in our guys, and we're practicing hard. We're having fun, so it's all about the Friday night experience for us and taking it in with the moments that we have.
So, and again, BF, one of their, just for the record, I love doing things like that. One of BF's trips to Acrisure Stadium was actually 2 years ago to Martirelli at North Hills in the pandemic. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's I would. But is my arithmetic right? Doesn't he go against this year 4 coaches with state championships? BF, Mars, Central Valley, and the Quips.
Yeah. If you're going by head coaches, well, Nick Nardone wasn't the head coach.
He was on the staff.
Ryan Matzuk was the head coach.
Yeah, that's right.
But your point's well taken, though, Bruce.
They've been there and know what it takes.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. We're with Zack Hayward, the head coach of the Blackhawk Cougars. We're going to take our first time out. We're going to be back with Zack in round 2. Then we're going to talk to Brock Cornell, the CCBC player of the game, in the West Allegheny game against Aliquippa. We want to thank our producer tonight, pulling a solo, Zach Boswell, tonight in the studio. And as always, Bruce, and you've already figured it out, Pizza Joe's delivered again.
I don't let that curtain fool me. I go right through it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Pizza Joe's on 3rd Street in Beaver. We appreciate their support every week. We're trying to get Brock Cornell to fatten up a little bit. I know they have a game at Ambridge this week. And we're going to be talking about this guy's game, which is going to be one of the radio games. That's coming up after this timeout on Beaver County Radio, WBVP, WNBA 99.3 FM. Here from the St. Barnabas studio, along with 95.7 and our Facebook Live page. We'll be right back.
There's no place like Community College of Beaver County.
Confidence happens here.
Connection happens here. Opportunity happens here. Your best you happens here. Your future happens here. Home is here. At CCBC, you're right where you need to be to find real learning for real life. And there's still time to join us. Enroll now through October 14th for fall mini-mesters. Same classes, less time. Visit ccbc.edu/fall. You belong here.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
Did you know Fisher's New Brighton Foodland is as close as a click? That's right. If you're watching or listening to this broadcast online, open up a new window and click grocerystorenewbrighton.com and start shopping right now. Fill your grocery order from New Brighton Foodland and follow Beaver County High School football all at the same time. What could be better? Fill your shopping cart up without ever leaving the sidelines. Visit grocerystorenewbrighton.com.
Scoring big at dinner doesn't necessarily have to mean getting the score run up on your family food budget. Level the playing field by shopping at Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot. There's a reason why they say your dollar goes far at Save-A-Lot. Maybe it's time to switch teams, and while you plan for a big playoff run, head out on a grocery store run. Even when time is running out, being able to park close to the door and find what you need in an instant without wading through a maze of aisles makes Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot the right call.
You can run out and buy a new car if you can find one or afford one, or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have, and nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton.
And we return to our second segment of the Coach's Corner here from the St. Barnabas studio on Beaver County Radio. Zack Hayward, the head coach of the Blackhawk Cougars. Zack, we're going to have both of your alma maters on Beaver County Radio. Friday night, you entertain Aliquippa. That'll be on WMBA. Mike Azadian and Rob Matsey will have the call of that game. And then Bruce will join me Saturday when your alma mater, Geneva, tries to get on the winning track against Allegheny. That's homecoming Saturday, 2:30 air time.
Zach, yeah, the parade I think starts at 12. I think Frank is covering the parade. But you can slide the JVs out the door and do your film study and still make it over here. You can handle it.
I talked with Coach DeMarco a little bit, and Rocco Colavecchia is going to be there. So one of my good buddies and teammates, he'll be there. If we could get JV out and our film session done, obviously we have a big game next week too. So we're not going to just close the books there. But
by 3 p.m. you ought to be able to handle.
Hopefully by 3 p.m. we could swing by College Hill here and catch Coach DeMarco.
Well, we have actually Blackhawk connections on all three games, because Friday night, the Union Scotties of Blackhawk grad Kim Niabala invades Rochester, and I'll be there with John Parado. Airtime of both of our high school games, 6:30. Zack Hayward, Aliquippa. You saw Central Valley, you've seen Highlands. Both of those teams certainly have title aspirations. Aliquippa obviously does as well. They're undefeated. They squeaked by West Allegheny a couple weeks ago, a game that they could have lost, very well could have lost, but things went their way in the final moments. Tell us, you've seen Aliquippa on film, you've seen them in person in years past. Aliquippa and Central Valley. We both know that they won the state championship last year. What's kind of a difference? Is a different planning against an Aliquippa team that Central Valley? They're both undefeated. We know that. But any differences? How do you go about trying to prepare for Mike Warfield's club?
Well, I think let's start with the similarities, because Coach Mike coached under Coach Lyons, for years. So you see a little bit of a mirrored team there with what they do in their preparation. You can see it in warm-ups. You can see it, with technique. They're both very technical, sound teams. I think the biggest difference there is, when you look at Central Valley, you have a lot of different formations. You have, a lot of misdirection where Aliquippa's coming downhill, and they're coming at you. Central Valley does the exact same thing. Both programs are top-tier programs. Both programs are phenomenal, and that's why you see them win the state championship last year. But I think the difference, with that is Central Valley has a little bit more, outside type of plays, throwing here, throwing there, screen passes. Aliquippa a little bit more primarily run heavy, but don't get it wrong, their quarterback can sling it. Watching them on tape, we're watching him throw it, 65 yards, 60, 65 yards in the air, so he could get it done too. So it's going to be a lot of fun, playing against Coach Warfield's team, and it's the Parkway. So, every week you got to strap it up and bring your best.
Right, yeah, for Cheese Quentin Good, I think his coming out party is, Bob, down at what was then Heinz Field against Bell Vernon. That came down to 15 seconds left in the half. Aliquippa was at its own 30. What do? Take the knee and just go to halftime? No. They let Cheese fire the ball deep into the end zone in the far end, and I think it was DJ Walker who hauled it in. And that was, we estimated 62, 63 in the air. He was well on this side of the 50 when he heaved it and made it into the end zone. Let's put it this way, Bell Vernon went to the halftime locker room at a much slower pace than they came out before the game. That kind of blew their mind. But to me, the toughest part for you is the Crowder, Eberhardt, McBride defensive front and coming up with a blocking scheme to get running yards. That would be my concern if I was coaching against the Quip.
Yeah, you have 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". And those three guys, and
all right around 300.
Yeah, our center is, I think, 5'7". Our guards are like 5'8", 5'9". So we don't have a big line. But that's definitely going to be a challenge for us. We know how good their defense is, and how they fly to the football. They're a very, very good football program. They're a very talented team, but they're well coached, and that's why you could see win after win after win, being stacked up. Because they do those little things great, and that's something that we preach to our guys is if you want to be a great team, you got to do the little things great.
One thing you don't have to worry about is this being a trap game, because next week, even though Brock Cornell, who's going to be with us in a few minutes, he assured us after dealing with Central Valley and Aliquippa, he promises he'll take it easy on you guys next Friday night. Now, don't believe everything you hear on this show, Zach, but let's talk about your club. You have a sophomore quarterback who might have looked like a sophomore early on, but it seems like he's grown. Let's talk about him and some of the pieces around him.
Yeah, so like I was telling you, I think we graduated 17 or 18 starters, depending on a package or two. But from last year's team. Now he had one start last year, and me being a quarterback, we lost our starting quarterback last year to an ACL. So the next game we played Aliquippa. So what did we do? We threw a freshman quarterback into the fire, against Aliquippa, and had a good game. So he's early in the season was just getting his feet wet. Still played very well. And I think it was just getting the mesh and gelling of those other starters as well. Because we have a sophomore running back, we have a sophomore receiver, freshman, two freshman linemen. So we're a very young team that we put out there on a Friday night. But we don't expect our quarterback to play like a sophomore. We expect him to play like a senior. And one great thing about the quarterback position is we also have Chandler Kincaid, who's a Blackhawk quarterback. Was a freshman when he got a offer to Pitt. So he's a phenomenal quarterback back in his day. Now he's our quarterback coach. So he relies heavily on, Canale relies heavily on Coach Kincaid to walk him through and kind of give him guidance. So we expect Canale to be have the mindset more of a senior than a sophomore. But definitely a lot of young guys around him. But we have sprinkled in a senior or two here, with Zach Hours and Tyler Januzzi, guys that have been 3-year starters around them. So try to balance it out a little bit. But having to help a sophomore quarterback with the guys around him being his same age or even younger is a daunting task for a quarterback.
Steve Canale, starting to mature as we speak, and the running back, the younger brother of Marcus, and I did say Marcus by mistake once, but Maurice Watson Trent has a little bit of Marcus in him, I would think.
Well, he's a. First of all, he's a great kid. He's super nice, outside of the white lines. But then you get him inside the white lines, and he's very similar to his older brother. Now his older brother is having a great career at Georgia Southern, and I think 6th in tackles in the conference. I mean, he's doing really well down there at Georgia Southern. Comes from a great family, but Maurice is one of those guys that we expected big things from him, and he's starting to come out of his shell here a little bit, and it's not going to be easy for him the next 3 weeks playing against the top 3 defenses, but we rely heavily on him to carry the load for us and take a little bit of pressure off of Canale.
So, Coach, you're too modest to say it on our show, but you have impeccable credentials yourself as a quarterback, both at Blackhawk and up the road at Geneva. Then, you would be a natural to be the quarterback's coach. How did you come by Chandler? Did he find you or did you find him?
I think it was a little bit of both. I was up in our press box, kind of just getting everything ready for the season, making sure the sound system works, the jumbotron, making sure all that stuff is ready for Friday night. And he just happened to be walking the track.
What year was that? This year.
I want to say it was like June. Yeah, and I saw him walking the track, and we just got to talking. And I've known Chandler since we go back to the youth leagues, and he was a guy that I would always come back to watch. Even whenever I was here at Geneva, I'd go back to watch Chandler play just because we became pretty good friends over the years, and I'd watch him play. And then as soon as I saw him walking the track, I'm like, it'd be perfect to have him do that, take a little bit of away from me, and let the quarterbacks hear from somebody else. And I think that's definitely helped because he's a little bit more calmer than I am. I tend to yell a little bit, but Chandler's always calm, cool, collected, and that's how he played too.
Zach, you've taken on the duties now this year as the athletic director at Blackhawk High School. In the previous years, you had like a side business, but now you're in the school all day. How does that play an advantage to you that you get to see these kids head on 5 days a week and then game night?
Yeah, so as year 2 as an AD, it's cool to see the kids during school and letting them have availability to me. So I can see them in lunch, I can see them in study hall, and if they have any issues, any problems, any questions, they know that they could always go to my office and come talk. And our school district and our administration is great to be around because they understand. High school athletes go through a ton, through their day to day, and being able to be in the school and seeing these guys and just interact with them, even sit down and have lunch with them, it kind of takes me back to whenever I was in high school. So when Coach Hamilton was a coach and Coach Nardone as the quarterback coach, that was something that was special to me, and that's why I feel like I had a special bond with Coach Hamilton and Coach Nardone, who's our offensive coordinator, because they would sit down and they would have lunch with me and our skilled players. So we try to do the same thing, try to be available for our players and know that it's more than just football. I think during the day we actually talk more about things outside of football than we do football. And then, it's a little bit, it's fun to go into film sessions, talk football, have practice, do all that stuff, but it's even better to get to know those kids and kind of point them in the right direction. And if they have questions about academics or, what they want to study, just being that voice and hey, here's maybe something that you want to look at, is definitely fun.
It would seem like it would make for a long day, though, because particularly like in boys and girls soccer, it just seems like across the WPIL there's a rush to way more night games. So I can just imagine you going through your whole football practice, then heading off to wherever to see the Cougs in soccer.
Yeah, it is a lot, but at the same time, you know, I don't just focus on football. You know, I was a multi-sport athlete at Blackhawk. My sister was, and all of my friends were. You know, so we got to know basketball players, baseball players, lacrosse, you know, all of them. So being, you know, the athletic director now, it's really cool to go out and support and be around, you know, all of the athletes at Blackhawk, because there's a lot of tradition, you know, at Blackhawk outside of football. And you can go down and you can, you know, list all the names that come to mind over the years. But, you know, lately, Ethan Papa just broke another school record in cross country, which is awesome.
Your team's running well, by the way.
Yeah.
Blackhawk boys, they're
clinched their first
top 3 in AA.
Yeah, they clinched their first conference championship in school history. So, you know, that was something that we witnessed yesterday, and it was a lot of you know, a lot of excitement, you know, being there.
Right, because they're good at 4, 5, and 6, and that's what you have to lower your score for the whole outfit.
Right.
We're going to take our next time out. When we come back, we're going to talk to Brock Cornell, the fine sophomore running back for the West Allegheny Indians. We're going to let Zack Hayward maybe enjoy some pizza from Pizza Joe's on 3rd Street in Beaver. Everyone goes to Pizza Joe's. Zach Boswell, our producer tonight, will be back after this time out from the St. Barnabas studio here on Beaver County Radio.
Carver Construction in New Brighton is proud of all of our local football teams. They know what it takes to be a winner. It takes dedication, talent, and desire to do your best. All the things Carver Construction offers its customers. They've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. Carver Construction, 1090 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. Building dreams one home at a time. Call 724-847-1572 or visit their website, carverconstructionpa.com.
McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa has been in business for nearly 60 years. Now that's experience you can count on. When you call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning at 724-375-7112, they'll answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sue Curlin and her winning team service most brands, and McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned and operated. As always, they wish their best to our local teams. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Main Street, Aliquippa.
Get your furnace tuned up and fall into savings. Just call Keller Heating and Cooling now through the end of November and get $250 off a new system. A new Daikin system features up to a 12-year warranty. Keller Heating and Cooling is locally founded, Beaver County based, and family owned, serving Beaver County and surrounding areas. Keller firmly believes in supporting small businesses which help the community they call home. Whatever your HVAC needs, call Keller Heating and Cooling, 412-628-2207.
No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director. You can run out and buy a new car if you can find one or afford one, or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have, and nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton.
Did you know Fisher's New Brighton Foodland is as close as a click? That's right. If you're watching or listening to this broadcast online, open up a new window and click GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com and start shopping right now. Fill your grocery order from New Brighton Foodland and follow Beaver County High School football all at the same time. What could be better? Fill your shopping cart up without ever leaving the sidelines. Visit GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com.
we continue this edition of the Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio, WBVP, WNBA, and we're joined now by sophomore running back Brock Cordell, who was our CCBC Player of the Game a couple weeks ago on the WNBA game between West Allegheny and Aliquippa. Brock, first of all, that was the best game that we've had on Beaver County Radio this season. I mean, it went right down to the wire. Congratulations. Was that one of your best games, would you say, personally this year? If not your best?
Yeah, it was probably one of my best games. I mean, we came out firing. We wanted to win that game. We came out with a passion. They did the same, obviously, but yeah, I think it was one of my best games.
Brock, in this area, it's considered big news when somebody scores 2 touchdowns against Aliquippa. How did you guys do that? Were they long drives, or did they come after turnovers?
Early in the game, we got a couple big turnovers. Nico Taddy picked one off, jumped it, took it down to like their 35-yard line. Took a couple plays, they stuffed us, and then we went to Wildcat and we got the blocks and broke one.
Brock, who did you bring with you here tonight to the Coach's Show?
My mom.
Okay, is she your biggest fan?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I know she's doing a little work with her cell phone to get you on the video and whatnot. But Brock, at the end of the game, I was broadcasting a different game that night, but I was getting updates, and I had heard that Aliquippa took the lead late, but you guys were driving. Fill me in what exactly happened, that got away from you.
So we punted the ball because we had a huge stop. There was like 7 minutes left. We took a minute, and then we punted the ball. Had great field position. We got the ball. They got the ball at their 5-yard line, and then we stopped them. It was like 3rd down and 4, and then Tyke Hayes broke a couple tackles and took it down to like our 40-yard line, and then threw the ball, got the 1st down, kept getting out of bounds. Now at that point it was like 3 minutes left. Then Tyke broke a big run, and we had 2.5 minutes left to go score.
It just seems like when push comes to shove, number 23 for Aliquippa gets the football.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player.
No doubt about it. Your classmate, among other things.
I don't know. They're feeding some of these guys some.
What is it?
You're both in 10th grade. I mean, that's just he's your classmate.
I mean, when you see West Allegheny against Aliquippa, you expect a couple seniors to rise to the occasion. You guys both were the CCBC players of the game. But Tyke Hayes, better known as Tyke, as you said, he was a stud last year and has not missed a beat this year. But getting back to you, Brock, even though the result didn't go your way and you no longer can control your own destiny to win the conference, but it's not unrealistic. If for one thing, you have Blackhawk coming up, you have Ambridge this week. Central Valley would be the toughest opponent on the schedule, and you have to play them on the road. But if you're able to take care of business the next couple of weeks, and then somehow Aliquippa, Central Valley beats Aliquippa, then it's a 3-way tie. But I know right now you just want to make sure that you get to the postseason. But right now, it looks pretty good the way your season has gone. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Right now we're just trying to win. We haven't made the playoffs in 3 years. I mean, I experienced a losing season last year after losing Gavin and Devin. It was heartbreaking. But.
Well, you were 4-5 last year. Excuse me, Bruce. 4-5 last year. Of course, the legendary Bob Pelko decides to leave, goes to Mount Lebanon, wins the state championship last year. But Coach Dave Shoppy, maybe a little bit under the radar because they haven't had the success that maybe West A teams have had in the past. But this is his coming out party, and you got to be really happy for Coach that this year, no matter what happens the rest of the way, it's been a pretty good season.
Yeah, I mean, I've grown up with around Palco and all those guys, and Coach Shoppy's just like Palco. I mean, he teaches us all the right things. He tells us to do the little things, and he teaches us not only about football but about life. And that's the most important
So
thing.
from your own standpoint, our last West A broadcast was Moon at West A year ago, when Moon had quite a few seniors, particularly in the line. You know, they graduated, 4 4-year starters, and they're paying the price for it this year. But you missed that because your freshman year was cut short from injury.
Yeah, my shoulder popped out halfway through the Peters Township game.
On defense or offense?
On defense. I came out to make a hit and it popped out. But yeah, I wanted to play in that game real bad. I remember I was trying to practice. I came Thursday because coach wouldn't let me play in the game if I didn't come to at least one practice. So I practiced Thursday, like the walkthrough, came in, and you know, the trainer told me that on game day that I couldn't play. So.
Now, what position do you play defensively?
I play safety.
Okay. Now, you have Ambridge coming up this week. On paper, it should be a win if you look at the records. But Ambridge is playing for really probably its playoff life this week. Yeah. Because if they win, they at least can make some noise. If they lose, then chances are they're going to be one of the 3 teams that don't get into the postseason. So you have to know the urgency. You have to sense that. I'm sure Coach has gotten that point across to you also, because you know Central Valley's coming up later in the year. You got to be focused on this game Friday night, though.
Yeah, like I said, we take it game by game. I mean, Ambridge is really athletic. They have a bunch of athletes. They're pretty big, too. Mm-hmm. They're well coached.
Starts with the McKnight twins.
I don't know who those guys are.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll find out.
They're defensively. They're on the outside on either side of the line. They're speaking captains, and they do a good job. But they definitely try to contain the toss sweep to either side.
Well, maybe the McKnight brothers will find out a little bit more about Brock Cornell on Friday night. We want to wish you the best. I know you made the long trip in from Imperial.
We got to ask him what it's like to be descended from royalty. You know, he's Brian Cornell's son, right? Am I lying?
No, you're not lying.
No, so, and again, you know, he has how many WPIL football medals as a coach? How many WPIL baseball medals as a coach? As I told him before the show, I give him credit. He's a defensive coordinator. He stopped Russell Shell, the greatest offensive force in this area in the last decade. In baseball, he stopped Brendan McKay, the greatest pitching force.
Yeah.
You know, we did the game. Am I lying? They beat them, and he hadn't given up a run since Prohibition. And so, to that, you know, does he keep those medals hanging somewhere? I mean, he would have to. There's got to be a big case somewhere. Ask his ma.
His office is filled with all the conference championship plaques everywhere.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
His rings are in a case, it's like right on top of the TV. I'm like,
is he a film study tonight or something?
No, he's working a soccer game because he's an assistant AD.
Yeah, right. No, under Mr. McBain,
does he have the same passion for football as he does leading a great baseball program?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. He was pumped when we won the Whippeal this year for baseball, and he...
No question.
Brock, we want to thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations for being the CCBC Player of the Game. Take it easy on the Cougars next week. But good luck to you the rest of the year. I know you're going to get in the playoffs, and 4A is going to be loaded for bear. Whatever teams get in there, it's going to be a battle. But I think you're going to be a part of it, though, and good luck to you.
Yeah, if West A does wind up the number 3 seed from the Parkway, I feel bad for the number 2 or number 1 in some other conference that hosts West A in the first.
Yes.
I give them my condolences now.
Brock, we're going to take our final break. Congratulations. Good luck rest of the season.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Brock Cornell of the West Allegheny Indians. We'll take our final timeout here from the St. Barnabas studio on Beaver County Radio.
There's no place like Community College of Beaver County. Confidence happens here. Connection happens here. Opportunity happens here. Your best you happens here. Your future happens here. Home is here. At CCBC, you're right where you need to be to find real learning for real life. And there's still time to join us. Enroll now through October 14th for fall mini-mesters. Same classes, less time. Visit ccbc.edu/fall. You belong here.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
Scoring big at dinner doesn't necessarily have to mean getting the score run up on your family food budget. Level the playing field by shopping at Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot. There's a reason why they say your dollar goes far at Save-A-Lot. Maybe it's time to switch teams, and while you plan for a big playoff run, head out on a grocery store run. Even when time is running out, being able to park close to the door and find what you need in an instant without wading through a maze of aisles makes Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot the right call.
You can run out and buy a new car if you can find one or afford one, or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have, and nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton. No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director.
Carver Construction in New Brighton is proud of all of our local football teams. They know what it takes to be a winner. It takes dedication, talent, and desire to do your best. All the things Carver Construction offers its customers. They've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. Carver Construction, 1090 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. Building dreams one home at a time. Call 724-847-1572 or visit their website, carverconstructionpa.com.
And our final segment, bringing back Zack Hayward after visiting with Brock Cornell from West Allegheny. Zack, the playoffs, it is week 7, and the 7th week, I guess week 6, technically. But I don't really pay much attention to the 0. It's the 7th week of the season. And Coach, you know, probably I was kidding when I said the WPIL did you a big favor scheduling Central Valley, Aliquip, and West Allegheny. But in a sense, they did really do you a favor because by having an 8-team conference, you get 5 teams that get to the postseason. Now, I know that you have ambitions. You don't want to just squeak into that 5th spot. But if you look at the standings, probably most observers would say, oh, it's going to come down to Blackhawk and Montour for 4th, and the losing team will get the 5th and final. You've already beaten 2 teams. So you would have tiebreakers over Ambridge and Chartiers Valley, and you close the season with Newcastle, another team that has struggled. But Coach, right now, you at least are in a good position to take care of business and get to the postseason. But I know positioning is important too when the WPIL comes out with those seeds. And I know you're not going to just throw in the towel and assume you're going to be 4th or 5th. You could do something about it in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the Parkway's the Parkway. It's a very tough conference. Great coaches in it. I didn't even mention Coach Cerro at Montour previously, but he's another great coach that's won Whippeal championships. So they're a very, very good program. It always seems to come down when we play at Montour. It's going to rain. It's going to storm. There's going to be a delay.
No doubt. It has come full circle, because if you'll recall, even before you were playing, like when Wisner was out there, for example, Blackhawk and Montour was one of the hottest tickets around in the Parkway. But I'll never forget. It's funny you mentioned rain, because we just started to say one night when it was pouring down rain, we said, "Welcome back to the spa here at Montour," and nobody knew what we were talking about. But what we were talking about, why we're saying "Welcome to the spa," is because where it said Spartans on the 50-yard line, the RTANS was all wiped out, and the only 3 letters were the spa. So we figured, okay, welcome to the spa here at Montour. Yeah. It was that horrible, obviously, before they had turf.
Yeah, and that's a tough place to play, and of course we got to go there as well. But Bob, just like what you said, we're not just trying to squeak into the playoffs. Our thing is, I'm very competitive. If you beat me in checkers, we're playing till I beat you again. So I'm very competitive, and playing against Aliquippa this week, for us, we see that as an opportunity. It's a great game, great team, great coaching staff. We get to play them on our homecoming, so we're expecting a big crowd. So, if we could go in there and play sound football, anything can happen here on a Friday night. So it's something that I'm confident in my team. I'll go to battle with my team every single Friday. It doesn't matter who we play, and you could see it last year when we scheduled Central Valley twice in 3 weeks. So I love my team. I love our chances. We're going to keep battling each week.
Coach, do you admit, though, that you got to play an air-free football game to have a reasonable chance of coming out on top Friday night?
I wouldn't say air-free because you're never going to be perfect. We never chase perfection. We chase greatness. And I think I said a little bit earlier in the segment, if you do the little things great, you'll be a great football team. And that's what we've been stressing here this week is do those little things great, and great things will come in return. So that's kind of what happened at when we played Mars. We did the little things great. We didn't have a perfect game. We definitely made some errors because, the opponents are going to make errors as well. Aliquippa is very, very close to perfection, and Central Valley is very close to perfection. So, you have to play your A-plus type of game against those programs. Same with West Day, same with Montour, same with, the remainder of our schedule. That's what we have to do, and we just have to do those little things great to put ourselves in that spot to win.
No question. And the other thing, you sort of touched on it earlier, you can't just wake up on Friday, November 4th and say, oh, it's the playoffs. You want to have that upward trajectory as you head in there. Oh, give me a roadmap. Where's best center? Whoever, you have to have that, roller coaster rolling.
Yeah. And the big thing about, 4A, I might be a little bit biased, but I feel like that is the hardest classification this year. You have McKeesport, you still have TJ, and then you have the gauntlet of our conference. Whoever can make the playoffs out of our conference, I like our conference's chances, so.
Well, I don't think you're going out on a limb. You have 2 defending state champions in your conference. You have a West Allegheny club that's had a history.
Yep.
And, of course, Blackhawks had a history. I think, you're in a very difficult conference, and maybe you'll be playoff tested if you could get in. And, again, I think your chances are pretty good. But, Coach, we could go on and on and on. But Zach Boswell has already given us the 2-minute warning. Coach, we want to wish you the best. You'll be on WNBA on Friday night, and for your sake, we hope the 3rd time's the charm, because we've had Beaver Falls, Central Valley, 2 very strong opponents. We got you soft touch this week in Aliquid. All kidding aside,
Right.
best of luck Friday night.
Thank you very much. And you guys are always welcome at Blackhawk. We always enjoy you guys being up in the press box and giving you guys those media guides.
Yeah, oh, no doubt about it. You can't miss a trick with every score in the history of the school. It's great. But and feel free to stop up and say hi to us at Reeves on Saturday afternoon in the box.
Oh, I will. I'll make sure Rocco makes an appearance as well.
No doubt about it.
That's great. We'll have Geneva 2:30 for homecoming. Blackhawks homecoming is Friday night, 6:30 airtime on WNBA. Union and former Blackhawk star Kim Niabala following in his late dad's footsteps. Rich Niabala is the head coach, and Rochester will be the assignment, 6:30 airtime. That'll do it for us. For Zach Boswell, Brock Cordell of West Allegheny, our player of the game. And, of course, for all of us here at Beaver County Radio, Pizza Joe's as well, thank you guys in Beaver for providing the refreshments. That'll do it for us. We'll talk to you at the ballparks Friday night at 6:30 here on Beaver County Radio, WBVP, WNBA, 99.3, 95.7, and Facebook Live. Good night, everyone.